Hello again. We're continuing day 13. So, continuing with the negative commandments, one who speaks Lashon Hara also transgresses the prohibition of hating his fellow Jew. ולפעמים עובר המספר גם כן בלאו דלא תשנא את אחיך בלבביך. At times, when someone who speaks Lashon Hara also violates the prohibition in Sefer Vayikra, chapter 19, verse 17. Do not hate your brother in your heart. By the way, in that same verse, it says the famous verse, "Ve'ahavta l'reich kamocha." Kegon, for example, im b'fanav shalom yidaber et re'u. If Reuven acts friendly towards Shimon in his presence, right? The names of the use of Reuven and Shimon are just as a matter of example. Shelo b'fanav v'ishu et reicho b'fnei acherim, but denigrates Shimon. Literally, it means causes his odor to be foul. Denigrates Shimon to others behind his back. Reuven violates this prohibition. All the more so if the speaker Reuven explicitly instructs his listeners not to go and inform Shimon, the person who he denigrated, what he had said about him. Then the speaker definitely transgresses this prohibition. And the Chavetz Chaim wording seemingly reflects the prohibition of Rambam in Hilchot Deot and others who rule that a person transgresses this prohibition if he does so, if he doesn't want the person who he denigrates to know that he said something bad about him. But seemingly you can deduce that if one is not afraid and says explicitly to the person who he hates, and says explicitly that he does not conceal his hatred from that person, and does it in his presence, seemingly he does not violate this prohibition. However, he does violate the prohibition of bearing a grudge, which we will now address right now. Okay, so a Lashon Hara speaker may also violate the prohibitions against taking revenge and holding a grudge. ולפעמים המספר עובר גם כן עליו דלא תיקום ולא תיטור. At times, when one who speaks Lashon Hara also transgresses the prohibitions of do not take revenge and do not bear a grudge. This is in that same passage, Sefer Vayikra, chapter 19, verse 18. The very next verse, כגון שיש לו שנאה עליו על דבר. So consider a case when Reuven hates Shimon, שביקש ממנו לעשות לו טובה בדבר שאלת ממון. Because Reuven once asked Shimon to lend him money as a favor. Or kiyotze b'zeh, or something similar. ולא יטיבו, and he refused to grant him the favor. ועבור זה נותר לו שנאה בלבו. As a result, Reuven harbors a grudge in his heart against Shimon, that he did not lend him money. וכשרואה אחר כך עליו שום דבר בגנאי, and when Reuven subsequently notices something negative about Shimon, ומפרסמו בפני אנשים, he publicizes it before other people. וכהוא עובר בתחילת על נטירה שבלב עליו דלא תיטור. Initially, when Reuven harbored these negative feelings in his heart, before he said anything, before he publicized anything, he violated the prohibition of do not wear a grudge in your heart. ואחר כך, כשנוקה ממנו, afterwards, when Reuven actively took revenge against Shimon, וסיפר עליו עבור זה הדברי גנות שראה עליו, by telling others the flaw that he noticed in Shimon, עובר עליו דלא תיקום. He violated the prohibition of do not take revenge. אלא צריך שימחה הדבר מילאו בליבו. Rather, in such a situation, Reuven should erase the matter of how he was wronged by Shimon from his heart. And that is the end of today, a very short day, very short reading. It's a very important thing that when someone does wrong us, we should never take it to heart. I mean, we should never hate, we should never bear a grudge, and we should erase the matter of how someone wronged us from our heart, because if one doesn't, one violates the prohibition against bearing a grudge, and it also just negatively affects you, and it's just not good. Anyways, that is the end of today. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next time.